Being right is not the same as being useful, and most leaders learn that too late. You saw it coming. You said something. Maybe you said it clearly, maybe you softened it, but you put it on the table. And then it got ignored, or overruled, or buried under consensus. And then it happened. The thing you warned about. The project stalled. The hire didn't work. The client walked. And nobody said your name. That moment, where you were correct and it cost you nothing and changed nothing. That's not a vindication. It's a diagnostic. It's telling you something about how you're operating that being right will never fix. This video is about what that something is. Premise. Most leaders treat being right as the goal. They build a case, they present it well, they wait to be proven correct. That's the standard playbook. Reframe. But being right is a solo act, and leadership isn't. When you're focused on the correctness of your position, you're measuring the wrong thing. The real question isn't whether your read was accurate. It's whether you created any movement in the people who needed to move. Those are not the same skill. In fact, they're almost in opposition. The sharper your certainty, the more the room tends to close around it. People don't rally behind confidence delivered as verdict. They resist it, quietly, politely, and completely. This is the thing most experienced managers miss. Being right can actually reduce your influence in the moment it should be highest. Because the way you hold your correctness, the posture of it, signals to the room that the thinking is done, that there's nothing left to work out together. And when people feel that, they don't engage, they comply, or they deflect. Either way, you've lost the room. The correctness of your call is real. That's not the problem. The problem is that you've been treating accuracy like it does the persuasion work for you. It doesn't. It never did. Move before you bring a position into a room. Ask yourself one question. What does the person across from you need to feel in order to move? Not what they need to know, what they need to feel. That's not manipulation. That's leadership. It's the difference between having the answer and making the answer useful. Adjust your entry point accordingly. Same substance, different approach. The call doesn't change. The framing does. Premise. There's a specific version of this that middle managers live with constantly. You're in the meeting. You see the problem. You say something, it doesn't land, and you let it go. Afterward, you tell yourself you raised it. You did your part. Reframe. That's not raising it. That's logging it. There's a difference between speaking and advocating. Speaking puts the idea in the room. Advocating means you stay with it. You track the resistance. You understand why it's not landing. You come back with a different angle. Most managers stop at speaking. They put the flag in the ground and then feel absolved when the ground shifts under it. That absolution is the problem. What you're really doing when you raise it and let it go is protecting yourself. You get to be right later without having done the harder work now. The record shows you said something, but the outcome shows you didn't push. And here's what that costs you over time. It trains your organization to treat your input as optional. When you consistently surface concerns and then retreat at the first sign of friction, people learn that your positions are negotiable at the level of discomfort. They stop bracing for you. You become easy to wait out. This isn't about being difficult. It's about having a legible threshold. People need to know where your line is, and they need to believe you'll hold it. If you've never held it, they don't know where it is, and neither do you. Move. The shift here is not to push harder in the room. It's to decide, before the meeting, which of your positions are actually load-bearing. Not every concern is worth the friction, but some are. Know the difference before you walk in. When something is load-bearing, don't log it. Carry it. That means following up after the meeting. That means naming the risk in writing. That means coming back with more data, a different framing, or a direct conversation with whoever has the authority to act. One clean follow-through on one real concern does more for your credibility than a year of being the person who saw it coming. Premise. Now here's the part most leaders won't sit with. Sometimes you were right, you advocated clearly, you held your position, and it still didn't matter. The decision went the other way, not because of politics, not because of bad leadership above you, just because the room weighed it differently than you did. Reframe. That's not a failure of your judgment. It's the cost of operating inside a hierarchy you don't control. But watch what happens next, because this is where something subtle and serious goes wrong. When you're overruled on a call you believed in, there's a temptation to carry that correctness forward, to stay slightly detached from the outcome, to let the result confirm what you already knew, and it's almost invisible the way you do it. You implement the decision, you don't sabotage anything, but you're not fully in. There's a small reservation you keep, a private ledger. That reservation is expensive, not because it's disloyal, but because your team reads it. They may not be able to name it, but they feel it. The energy you bring to a decision you didn't choose tells them exactly how much you believe in the work. And if you're half-hearted, they calibrate to your half-heartedness. You become the ceiling on their commitment. The whole team executes at the level of your private doubt. This is the real loneliness of the correct call. It's not just that no one listened, it's that being right, and being known to have been right, can quietly turn you into someone who's checked out while still showing up. That's the version of this no one talks about. Move. When a decision goes against you and you have to execute it anyway, you need to make a real choice, not a procedural one. Either you find the legitimate case for why this direction might work, and you lead from that, or you escalate your objection through the right channel before execution begins. Those are the only two positions available to a leader who takes the work seriously. What's not available, not without cost, is the third option: silent compliance with a private exemption. That option feels like integrity. It's actually abdication dressed up as professionalism. Being right is a data point. What you do with it is the leadership question. The managers who last, the ones who actually move organizations, they're not the ones with the best track record of correct predictions. They're the ones who figured out that their judgment only has value when it's in service of something beyond their own vindication. The loneliness you feel when no one hears you, that's real. But at some point, you have to decide whether you're carrying that correctness as a compass or as a grievance. One of those makes you better. The other just makes you right.